the beginning of aloneness. Beloved ones, the true journey of life begins not when you are surrounded by friends, not when family applauds your steps, not when society embraces you. It begins the moment you discover with a shock that you are utterly alone. This discovery is painful at first, almost like a wound. The heart trembles. The mind immediately asks, why is no one here for me? Why has life abandoned me? But slowly, if you watch, without escaping, something miraculous starts happening. The wound becomes a doorway. I know this from my own childhood. I was a very silent child, not interested in the noisy games of the world. People thought I was strange, even in a crowd. I felt as though there was a great distance between myself and others, as if my soul was standing on a mountain while the world moved far below. At that time, I did not understand it, but later I realized this aloneness was a blessing sent by existence. It was not loneliness. Loneliness is the desire for the other. Aloneness is the discovery of yourself. When nobody is there for you, suddenly you stop looking outward. You begin looking inward because there is no one left to look at. In that inwardness, a new space opens. It is vast, unending, serene. Existence begins to whisper to you directly. You hear sounds that are not made of words. You feel answers that come before questions. You sense a presence that has always been with you but was hidden by the crowd. Most people spend their entire lives running from this aloneness. They drown themselves in relationships, distractions, ambitions, noise. They are terrified that if they sit quietly, if they stop clinging to others, they will face a great emptiness. But that emptiness is the door to truth. When there is nobody to lean on, you are forced to stand on your own feet. In that moment, your spine straightens in an invisible way. A strength you never knew you had begins to rise. When I first realized the beauty of aloneness, it felt like a liberation. There was no longer any pressure to fit into society's definitions. No need to be someone else's idea of good or successful. My life became my own. And the greatest surprise was this: when you accept your aloneness, you never feel alone again. You feel full, complete, overflowing. The world may not be there for you, but existence always is. In the silence of being alone, existence embraces you more intimately than any human could. It holds your hand from within. It becomes your secret companion. And once you taste this inner companionship, nobody's absence can disturb you. So, beloved ones, cherish this moment when nobody is there for you. It is not a curse, it is a calling, it is existence inviting you to meet yourself for the first time. And that meeting is the beginning of all true growth. The inner flame, Beloved one, you ask how to move ahead in life when absolutely no one is standing with you. The first thing to understand is this: the real support you long for, the true pillar of strength, the only companion who will never abandon you, is already living within you. It has always been there. You simply have not looked in its direction deeply enough. When I was young, many people tried to give me guidance. They offered advice with the confidence of those who had never questioned their own ignorance. Their words were not born from understanding, but from fear, tradition, and borrowed beliefs. Listening to them, I realized something very simple. If I continued to depend on the guidance of others, I would never discover my own path. So I turned inward, not out of arrogance, but out of sincerity. In that turning, I discovered a small flame. It was fragile, like the flame of a lamp trembling in the wind. But it was there, alive, warm, silent, and deeply intimate. This flame is awareness. It is your consciousness. It is the only friend who has walked with you from the very beginning and will walk with you beyond the end. When the world abandons you, protect this flame. Guard it the way a mother guards her newborn child. Sit with it, watch it. Nourish it with silence. The moment you turn toward this flame, you will sense a subtle shift. Suddenly, you do not feel entirely helpless. A new center emerges within you. It is as if a small sun begins to rise in your inner sky. People believe they need someone outside themselves to push them forward. But the truth is the opposite. The more you depend on external support, the weaker your inner flame becomes. When you are forced to rely on yourself, your flame grows stronger. It becomes your guiding light through the darkest nights. There were moments in my own life when I felt the weight of human misunderstanding. When people could not comprehend my silence, they became uncomfortable. When they could not understand my clarity, they became afraid. Naturally, they withdrew, but their absence only deepened my connection with my own inner being. Each time someone left, I found myself resting more deeply in my own presence. This is the great paradox. When there is no one to hold your hand, you finally discover your own hands. You discover your own capacity to walk, to stand, to rise. You realize you are not as weak as you have been told. Your strength is ancient. It is not borrowed from society, family, or friends. It is the gift existence placed within you long before you were born. Remember this: the flame within you is your true master. It knows the way. It has known it since eternity. When you trust this inner flame, your steps become natural. You walk not with fear but with clarity. You move not because someone pushes you, but because your awareness pulls you forward. Bell. Ovid 1. Once you discover this inner flame, you are never alone again. You have found the only support that can never be taken away from you. And from this support, all other blessings arise, turning pain into power. Beloved ones, the pain of being alone is not your enemy. It may feel harsh, sharp, almost unbearable at times, but it is one of the greatest teachers life can offer. When no one stands beside you, when not a single shoulder is available for you to lean on, something inside you begins to break. And in that very breaking lies the possibility of awakening. Remember this. A seed must break open in the darkness of the soil before a sprout can emerge into the light. The mind tends to interpret aloneness as a punishment. It says, why is this happening to me? Why am I not supported? Why do others have companionship while I am left to face the world by myself? But life is not punishing you. Life is preparing you. The pain you feel is actually the pressure needed for your inner strength to unfold. I have walked through many moments where the path seemed to disappear beneath my feet. Times when society misunderstood me. Times when people preferred their comfortable illusions over my uncomfortable truths. Their rejection could have become a wound, but I chose to look at it with awareness, and awareness transforms poison into nectar. What could have become bitterness became clarity. What could have become weakness became power. You must understand that pain is raw energy. It is not negative by nature. It becomes negative only when you resist it. If you embrace it, if you watch it without trying to escape, that very energy becomes a doorway to transformation. When you feel alone, sit with your aloneness. When you feel hurt, breathe with your hurt. Do not run. Do not hide. Do not distract yourself. Just witness it. In witnessing, a miracle happens. The pain begins to dissolve, and behind it, you will find a strength you never imagined. When I traveled from village to village with no companions, with no certainty about where I would stay, I was not afraid. I welcomed the uncertainty. Each moment of difficulty sharpened my perception. Every challenge became a mirror revealing something deeper within me. I learned that true courage is not the absence of fear. True courage is the willingness to be vulnerable, to face your pain directly, and let it carve out new space within you. And remember, beloved one, when you stop depending on others for emotional security, you stop giving them power over you. You become free. The approval of others loses its charm. The fear of rejection loses its grip. The voices of the world become less loud than the whisper of your own being. This is real growth. This is real maturity. Pain is not here to break you. It is here to break the false you, the conditioned you, the borrowed personality that society has placed upon you. Once that false layer cracks, your authentic self begins to shine. And that self needs no validation from the world. It walks with quiet confidence, with steady steps, with an inner dignity that no one can give and no one can take away. Beloved ones, let your pain become your power. Let your aloneness become your awakening. What you think is the end is often the beginning of your true life, rising beyond expectations. Beloved ones, when nobody is there for you, something extraordinary becomes possible. You become free from the expectations of others. This freedom is rarely understood. People believe that being supported means being loved, being accepted, being guided. But support often comes with invisible chains. Those who say they love you unconsciously begin to shape you, mold you, carve you according to their image of how you should be. And slowly, without noticing, you begin to live a life that is not your own. When people leave you, when their expectations disappear from your path, your soul finally breathes. You may feel abandoned on the surface, but at the deepest level, existence has given you a gift. You are no longer imprisoned by their dreams. You are free to discover your own. In my own life, I witnessed how society subtly tries to create a pattern for every individual. Do this, do not do that, follow this rule, reject that desire, be respectful, obedient, predictable, become part of the crowd. But I have never been interested in crowds. I have always been interested in consciousness. And consciousness can never be shaped by the expectations of others. So, whenever society tried to force me into its mold, I simply stepped aside. I refused to compromise my inner truth for the sake of external approval. You too must learn this art of stepping aside. When nobody stands with you, your steps may feel uncertain at first. You may feel lost, but that lostness is precious because it removes the false paths created by others. Only your own path remains, and your path may not be straight, it may not be clear, it may not impress anyone, but it will be yours. And that authenticity is far more valuable than the approval of the entire world. Expectations are like heavy stones placed on the wings of a bird. As long as you try to satisfy others, you cannot fly. You may walk, you may survive, but you will never soar. And life is not meant to be survived. Life is meant to be lived with intensity, with passion, with a rebellious joy that comes only when you follow your inner calling. Beloved, 1. Do not be afraid of disappointing others. Be afraid only of disappointing yourself. The world will always have opinions. They will praise you one day and condemn you the next. Their minds are fickle. Their judgments are shallow. Their expectations are changing shadows. You cannot build a real life on something so unstable. When you rise beyond expectations, you begin to live from your own center. Decisions become easier. Your energy becomes lighter. You stop acting and start being. And in being, there is grace, there is peace, there is a silent strength that does not depend on anyone's approval. Remember this: the only person you are truly responsible to is yourself. And when you honor your truth, life begins to flow in harmony. Unexpected opportunities arise, new doors open. You attract people who resonate with your authenticity rather than your obedience. When no one is there for you, beloved, celebrate it. You have been given the freedom to be yourself without apology, without compromise, without fear. And this freedom is the foundation of every great life. Trusting existence. Beloved ones, existence has never abandoned you. Only people have. And you must learn how vast the difference is between these two. People come and go. They are like clouds drifting across the sky, appearing beautiful for a moment and disappearing the next. Existence is the sky itself. It is always present. It is always holding you, nourishing you, guiding you, even when you do not realize it. When people turn away from you, you feel a sudden emptiness. You wonder why they left, what mistake you made, what you lacked. But you must understand that human companionship is fragile. It is based on moods, on misunderstandings, on shifting desires, on the changing seasons of emotion. Nobody can be with you unconditionally because nobody knows themselves well enough to offer such love. Existence is different. It is unconditional. It has given you life without asking for anything in return. It has given you breath, intelligence, awareness, and the ability to grow. Even in your darkest moments, it has never withdrawn its support. The sun continues to rise. The earth, oh, continues to carry you. The air continues to enter your lungs. This silent support is far deeper than any human presence. There were many times in my own life when people walked away because they could not understand what I was saying or who I was becoming. Their fear made them create distance. Their minds could not accept my freedom, my silence, or my clarity. Naturally, they withdrew. But each time a person left, life opened a new door. Existence brought someone or something else that guided me further on my path. I realized then that the universe is constantly arranging events in your favor, even when the arrangement looks like chaos on the surface. To trust existence means to relax into this mysterious intelligence. You do not need to control everything. You do not need to predict every outcome. You do not need to beg for support. When a child sleeps in the arms of its mother, it does not worry about falling. It trusts instinctively. In the same way, existence invites you to rest in its arms. When no one is there for you, do not panic. Do not rush to fill the emptiness with noise or people or distractions. Instead, become silent. Listen. Feel the invisible hands that are holding you. Notice the subtle guidance that comes through dreams, intuition, coincidences, and unexpected opportunities. Once you start trusting existence, you will see signs everywhere. The greatest shift in your life happens when you move from trusting people to trusting existence. People can only offer you a reflection of their own incompleteness. Existence offers you the totality of creation. It knows your path because it is the path. It knows your potential because it placed that potential within you. Beloved one, trust existence. If a door closes, do not cry. Another is already opening. If someone leaves, bow with gratitude. Their departure is making space for your growth. If you feel alone, understand that existence is pulling you closer to itself. And once you feel this trust at the deepest level, life becomes a dance. You walk with confidence, not because you know the way, but because you know you are guided. Becoming your own master, beloved ones, to move ahead in life when no one is there for you is to step into the greatest possibility a human being can experience. It is the moment when you begin to become your own master. People are taught from childhood to follow parents, follow teachers, follow priests, follow the crowd. And in this endless following, they forget who they truly are. They become shadows of other people's minds. When you find yourself alone, without guidance, without support, without a hand to hold, something profound begins to awaken within you. For the first time, you must look inward for direction. You must ask yourself, not others, what the next step is. And in that simple turning inward, a new intelligence starts to unfold. I learned this very early in my life. I questioned everything. I refused to accept any belief merely because it was ancient or respected or collectively accepted. I sat with myself for long hours, watching my thoughts rise and fall like waves. I learned to observe my fears instead of running from them. I learned to listen to my silence instead of drowning it in noise. And slowly, I discovered a deep, mysterious presence within me. This presence was my true master. You too have this presence. It is not unique to me. It is your birthright, your essence. But because you have been conditioned to look outward for approval, you have forgotten how to listen to it. When no one is there for you, this inner presence finally has space to speak. It calls you back home. To become your own master means to trust your inner voice more than the loud voices of the world. It means to make decisions based on your oh, not on fear of judgment. It means to walk your path even if others laugh, criticize, or misunderstand. A master is not someone who never makes mistakes. A master is someone who learns from his mistakes rather than running away from them. Beloved one, the journey inward is not always comfortable. You will face moments of confusion. You will encounter the shadows of your own conditioning. You will feel the pull of old habits. But if you stay patient, if you stay aware, if you stay rooted in yourself, you will discover a strength far greater than anything the external world can offer. Once you become your own master, you no longer move through life seeking approval. You no longer fear rejection. You no longer feel threatened by failure. Your center becomes so strong that no storm can disturb it. You walk with grace, with dignity, with a quiet confidence that arises naturally from within. Life stops being a struggle and becomes a continuous unfolding. And something even more beautiful happens. When you no longer need support from others, you attract people who resonate with your authenticity. Not because you depend on them, but because your energy is whole. You meet others not out of need, but out of overflow. You share, you love, you connect, but you never lose yourself. Beloved ones, remember this truth. When nobody is there for you, existence is inviting you to become the one who will always be there for yourself. This is mastery, this is freedom, and this is the beginning of a truly awakened life.